A bust of Vlad Tepes. I get the creepy feeling that someone's watching me. There's something sick about this manor. I already have enough of this.
The pattern is known. The door will be automatically locked.
I'm locked in. Adam will never come look for me here. I'll have to sort things out myself. I don't feel good. This is not a good time to faint. I've got to take some medicine. Garlic, a crossbow, and silver arrows. Real anti-vampire gear. Vanbury's passion for the Dracula story was more intense than I would have ever imagined. Dissertations upon the apparitions of angels, demons, and ghosts. He was really obsessed. How could a professor like Vanbury believe that such beings existed? No, I should put the explosive in the right place before setting it off. If there's another exit, it's probably behind this wall. I'll need more than a small pickaxe to break into this wall. Adam, is that you?
Ellen? What on earth is going on here? I heard an explosion!
I had to blast the wall of your bedroom to get out of a vault that Vampiren installed under the cemetery. I really thought I was never going to get out of there.
Get your breath back first, then tell me about it in the library. We'll be more comfortable there. What you've just told me is unbelievable. You're really something, Ellen. I was working for Vampiren for months, but I didn't have the faintest idea that there was this secret room and this vault. To tell you the truth, I would have never imagined that he was so passionate about Dracula. And I don't know why he would be so obsessed about him.
The missing portrait, the 16th painting, it's a clue related to his paranoia. He recorded a tape where he talks about an evil relic that he had to keep secret, as if it were a burden to him.
You don't think that it was a portrait of Dracula, do you?
Vampiren was afraid that the man in the portrait would come for the painting. Seeing that he has crossbows and silver stakes stored under the cemetery, it really gets you thinking. I found an old wax cylinder in the vault. Maybe it's connected to the painting.
There's a phonograph downstairs. You should be able to listen to it. Meanwhile, I'll take a look at the vault.
Oh, I've bungled it.
November 1870. I have just come back to Budapest, exhausted, and no longer have the strength to write. I shall therefore dictate this journal to stamp in my memory the tragic events I experienced in Vladoviste. My struggle with Dracula concluded in a stalemate. The Count will certainly not come after me in Budapest, but I had to flee far from his land. If I were to return, I'd be immediately arrested as an accomplice to murder. In his Transylvanian stronghold, Dracula is untouchable. His will is law, and no one disobeys him. He does occasionally change his hunting ground, for he is hungry for new prey. That is the reason he bought a house in Budapest. Fate caused him to choose as his notary my friend Bjorn Hartner, then to desire his wife and take flight with her. With Bjorn, we set out in pursuit of the accursed couple. I quickly understood that the Count was drawing Luciana onto the path of the dragon. By an engagement present, he wanted to offer her eternity. We followed the lovers from city to city, but unfortunately, we were always one step behind. And when at last our long chase led us to Vladoviste, we didn't even have time to enter the Count's castle before the horror struck us. We were staying at the inn. My room communicated with Bjorn's. In the night, I heard Luciana's voice calling out to her husband. My friend, neither ignoring, or rather refusing to accept what his wife had become, invited her up to join him. His imprudence might be fatal. Luciana would have bled her husband dry if I hadn't intervened. I battered down the door between our rooms and pierced the vampire's heart. I urged Jon to leave the inn immediately, but he remained prostrate and refused to follow me. As I had feared, my friend was arrested and indicted for the murder of his wife. I learned he died in his cell. The papers spoke of suicide, but I discerned in his death the work of the Count, whose influence extends into the prisons. Prudence obliged me to return to Budapest as quickly as possible. I forced myself, nonetheless, to visit Luciana's grave and deal with her corpse according to the ritual. I didn't want to leave without the absolute certainty that she'd lie in eternal peace. As for her master and lover, Count Dracula, I admit that I shrunk back from him. Others will come, I hope, to resume the combat. It is for them that I preciously conserve my archives on the path of the dragon. For me, the fight is over.
I can't believe it. The note on the side of the cylinder says that the professor's grandfather made the recording. I'm starting to understand why he was so obsessed with Dracula. He was brought up in a vampire-fearing environment, and he grew up with the enormous burden of having to keep a portrait of the vampire secret. The more I discover, the more surreal this whole story becomes. But I would be immensely disappointed to leave the investigation before actually seeing the painting. A Cytale. It's a system that deciphers messages written on strips of paper. Cytales have been used since ancient times. Yanek Tev Kif Han S. Okak 734 110 Fatih. Istanbul. Yanik Tevkifan Sokak 7 34 110 Fatih, Istanbul. It looks like an address in Istanbul. This Yanik might be Frieden's accomplice.
Metropolitan Director's Office, hello?
Hello, it's Ellen Cross.
Ellen, so, what's the update?
I haven't gotten hold of the portrait, but I have made some disturbing discoveries. Vampiren was totally paranoid. He installed a vault underneath the cemetery adjacent to the manor. Inside, I found a real Vlad Tepes museum.
Living in the town of the Dracula novel ended up getting to him. Poor guy. And I found information on the painter Kanayek. He was a 16th century Istanbul artist. I haven't found any mention of his works. However, my assistant tells me that through the centuries the name Kanayek became Yannick.
Yannick? I can't believe it. Friedland, the Budapest prisoner, had an encoded message in his belongings. I managed to decipher it. It's the address of someone named Yannick in Istanbul.
Ellen, have you ever been to Turkey?
No.
Well, here's your opportunity. Go and pay a visit to this man. If he's a descendant of the painter Kanayek, he might be able to give you information on the portrait. Also, try to get more information on his connection with Friedland, but be careful.
Very well. I have to go to Istanbul. We might have found a man from the Kanayek family. Kanayek is the painter who painted the portrait.
Budapest, Whitby, and now Turkey. And to think that I thought that working for museums was really boring. From the time I've known you, I've had nothing but surprises.
I would have preferred to visit Istanbul under different circumstances. The man I have to meet there might have been in contact with the thief who died in Budapest.
It's a disturbing coincidence. Kanayek's descendant could thus be an accomplice in the Vampiren collection robbery.
That's possible. And if it turns out to be true, I'll have to be careful.
I would have liked to be your escort, but I have to stay here until the professor's inheritance is settled. But I would be really happy if you could keep me posted on this affair.
I will.
Take care of yourself, Ellen.
You too, Adam. Hello?
Hello, Miss Cross. This is the reception desk. You have received a package. We have brought it up to your room. I think it is on the desk.
All right. Thank you.